This is going to be a video on those who do not take the mark of the beast. And a lot of Christians would think that they would not take the mark because they know all that takes the mark will have to be cast into the pit. And but there's going to be a lot of Christians that's going to scatter, and it ain't going to be just the Christians. It's going to be the Jewish people, and it's going to be the Muslims that follow the light. Now, y'all heard me talk about Muslim, and my mark that I carry on my channel, it's got the Muslim mark on it. I'm gonna go ahead and explain that to you. Now, there is good people and bad people in all religions, and I don't know if you know history, but the Christians they killed a lot of people in the name of God, back in the 1300s and so. And all through history, they used God to do the dirty work. They said, well, we're going to kill you in the name of God because we're right and you're wrong. So the Muslims ain't no different than the Israelites and the Christians. We all have to go through that, and there is the good. There is good in there that know that killing is wrong, because their religion is the same as ours. They go back to the Old Testament and the Ten Commandments, and the main one is thou shalt not kill. And that's one of the main ones, but the first one is no other God before him that created all there is. So I try not to get distracted. I just want to let you know why I do these things. And it's going to have to be, we're going to have to come together, because the beast is trying to separate us. Divide and conquer. That is the number one all through since history began. When warring against each other, they said, now if you can divide your enemy, they're easier to conquer. So divide the children of God, and then you can conquer them pretty easy. But like I said, we're all going to be in the same boat come toward the end when the beast gets in power. And I don't know if you remember watching my other video about who's the beast and how he gets in power, but that might be something you want to watch. Now, those that don't take the mark, that won't fall in line, will be scattered. And like I said, there's a lot of people that follow God, and they like to think that they're going to be, die for the Lord and be martyred. And a lot of people would think, I'm going to be caught in the rapture and I'm going to go. Well, maybe not. Even I know that I'm going to not be captured up in the rapture because of my sins. I'm a sinful person, and only those who follow Christ, and I mean you follow him to the T, you follow in his footsteps, and that's one of the hardest things to do, is to give up all that you own and all that you'll ever own and follow the footsteps of Christ. And these will be the ones that's raptured, as far as I know. But they will have to be tested first before they're raptured, and that way the Lord will sort out those who hide in the church. And so the people, make people think that they're good. There's a lot of people that hides in the church and that really are not true believers. And but we will all be tested, and I pray that we will succeed. I pray that we will be worthy, but we won't know until that day. All right, but like I said now, and a lot of you Christians go to church here, and especially here in the United States, they wear their fancy clothes, got the boobs hanging out, and they got their real short dresses, and I ain't going to condemn them for it, because that's between them and the Lord. But to tempt other people, with your clothing, and to drive your big fancy cars, and you'd pull up to church in your Escalades, and you're saying, look at me, I'm fancy and I'm big dog, and you're just nothing but a little poor person, see? And that's, the Lord knows what's in your heart. He knows your pride. It would be best to try to control that. But I'm getting around to it. I know I'm getting off, and I know everybody's got things to do. Let's get back on track now. And it clearly states in the Bible, you will take the mark of the beast, or you will be like having your throat cut. It says, you will not be able to buy and sell unless you take that mark of the beast. You will not be able to own nothing. All y'all have been buying these big fancy houses and these big fancy cars. When the beast is here, you can't own that stuff. You have to take the mark before you can pay your taxes, before you can buy and sell and get your tag and to own that house, to pay your taxes and all that. So keep that in mind when you're out. And that's why Jesus is saying it's easier for a poor person to get into heaven than it is for a rich. Because the rich are going to try to hang on to what they got. They're going to try to hang on to their land. They're going to try to hang on to the houses. They're going to try to hang on to the cars, the big fancy, and hang on to everything. And their churches and all that. And they're going to say, I want to hang on to this. I can do better if I have all this stuff. But you can't. But that's it between you and the Lord. But I'm just kind of pointing this out to you. You cannot own, you cannot buy, you cannot sell, and it'll be for them 3.5 years. You will not be able to do this because this is why the beast is in power. Of course, it ain't going to get much better until Christ comes and everything gets to be groovy again. But try to remember that. When you're out working your butt off all the day long so you can have your big fancy house, fancy looking kids, fancy clothes, fancy shoes. Remember, if you're going to follow the way of Christ, it's best to start learning to do without it now while everything is good. Because when the chaos hits, it's going to be a little bit late because it's going to be bad because it's hard to get close to God whenever you got a bunch of chaos going on around you, okay? And that's the way it's going to be. There in the beginning, it's going to be chaos. They're going to be fighting in the streets, and it's going to be bloody well mess. And then the beast is going to step in, it's going, I'm going to make everything better, but everybody's got to take that mark. Everybody's got to take that because that way, everybody going to the food soup lines, and they're going to have that mark to be able to eat, to drink, to get whatever a person needs. And those that are a little richer, they're going to have to be able to pay their taxes and pay on their vehicles and everything, get their tags, and that's a whole different story. But you get the point, and that's all that matters. So try to live without this stuff, and remember, the Lord owns everything you've got. You own nothing. He gave it to you. He'll take it from you whenever it's time for it to be done. So blessed be the Lord that takes everything from you, because that kind of frees you up. All right, now, and I'm going to let that be the end of this video. So bless y'all. I hope the Lord's with you forever and ever. Amen.